Hello there, SDG here. Hopefully you guys are doing great on this fine day. So in this video, I want to give you guys some great tips on how to get better in the latest release Call of Duty Cold War. Now this game, there has been some issues specifically around skill-based matchmaking, which I will dive into a little later in the video. And the reason that's really skill-based matchmaking is the reason why I'm making this video on how to get better at the game. Now before the video starts, if you are interested in Call of Duty tips, tricks, strategies, and more, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content that I drop consisting of those ideals. Now let's get into the content. So skill-based matchmaking actually made a really strong appeal back in Modern Warfare 2019, and it's really stuck throughout Modern Warfare, Warzone, and now the latest release, Call of Duty Cold War. Of course, there are numerous ways to bypass this. One way is called reverse boosting, where you just purposely do bad in matches, such as like 5 matches, you do horrible. Then after those 5 matches, you will be paired with people who are in lower skills, making it easier for you to get wins, kills, gameplay, whatever. Now, of course, that isn't morally right in my opinion, because it's kind of cheating the system, and I'm not into that stuff. So I'm making this video specifically to kind of bypass it. Of course, not everyone is perfect when it comes to Call of Duty, so that's another reason why I'm making this video. And this is going to kind of highlight ways to get better in general, not just in this specific game. Like, you can apply all of these to Modern Warfare 2019, future Call of Duty games, and also Call of Duty Warzone if you're into that. And yeah, these are just mainly Call of Duty and first-person shooter tips. So if you really want to take this to the next level, you can use these tips for other first-person shooter games like Rainbow Six Siege or Apex Legends even. So these tips are just quite general in the first-person category, so stay tuned. Now for the first tip, I primarily want to talk to you guys about input. Now what I mean by this is, when it comes to Call of Duty, there are 2 different inputs that you can put on every platform when it comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and also PC. Those 2 different inputs would be controller or mouse and keyboard. Now that there's mouse and keyboard support on a console, what you can do is you can just simply connect your mouse and keyboard, go to the settings, switch the input to mouse and keyboard, and you pretty much have the, I guess, PC version of Call of Duty, except at 60 frames and 60 frames per second and at a 1080p. But what this does is it allows you to know where your cap is when it comes to how good you can be in an input. For example, let's say you've always played controller, right? You've never really played mouse and keyboard ever. You don't know your full potential when it comes to your input and how well you do with a different input such as mouse and keyboard, because obviously you have not ever tried mouse and keyboard before. So what I recommend you do is just go ahead and plug in a mouse and keyboard. It really doesn't matter what type of mouse and keyboard it is, although you can't really use Bluetooth mouse and keyboards, so keep that in mind. It doesn't work with Xbox, at least. You can use that for PC obviously, but I'm not sure about PlayStation. But I know for a fact Xbox and Bluetooth don't go well together. But any mouse and keyboard, it can be wireless with USB, so it has to have a USB dongle, or it can be wired. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's a mouse and keyboard, or mouse and keyboard with a USB output or input or whatever you want to call it. It will work. It can be a office setup, it can be a gaming setup, it doesn't really matter. As long as it can plug into it, it'll work. So I would recommend you guys give it at least a week of just simply playing mouse and keyboard and comparing and contrasting your stats from before and after. So before meaning you play controller, and after you play mouse and keyboard. Try to change up the stats and see, and compare and contrast the stats and see how well you do or how horrible you've done. Now after that, really you get a understanding of how well you do to an extent when it comes to each input, and then from there on you can obviously choose which input you want to use and whichever one you feel would work the best for you. Now this first tip, it might not work for everyone, but a good example of that would be with me. So I first got this Xbox, as a matter of fact, this year, so I'm a little late to the, I guess, current gen meta, but I got this Xbox this year, and I generally played Apex. Apex is what guided me into like my gaming way or gaming fashion, and obviously Apex does not have mouse and keyboard support, so all I had to play with was a controller. I've played with controller ever since I got the console, all the way to I believe when I got Warzone in May of something. Yeah, I think it was May. So I had a good amount of time with controller alone, but right when I switched to mouse and keyboard, because I heard that Warzone has mouse and keyboard support, I went ahead and plugged it in, tried it out, and from then on I really just been playing mouse and keyboard. Nowadays, I switched back to controller because I want to like consistently upload Apex Legends on my different channel, and I'll talk about that later. But I want to consistently stay on the same type of input all throughout different games, even games that don't have mouse and keyboard support. But what I'm pretty much summing up is, I didn't know that mouse and keyboard would be my main input. I didn't know that I was going to enjoy mouse and keyboard the way I did. So when I plugged it in, I tried it out and I enjoyed it so much. That's really all I've been using for Warzone. So that's just a nice little key example of why you want to be trying out different inputs. Now for the second tip, it would be controlling a point. What I mean by this is in every single map in Warzone, or not Warzone, but in Call of Duty Cold War, there is a specific point in the middle of the map and consistently throughout all the different maps that you can hold in a way where it's like possibly the most dangerous place to go, but at the same time it's the most populated. For example, in Checkmate, in the gameplay for example, the airplane area, the little small indoorish airplane area with a cabin of Air Force One, that has to be the most dangerous place to be because you don't know if the enemies are in there or not, unless of course you have a UAV. And on top of that, it's just very much crowded, and you see a lot of enemies pass through there, and that area is a general area where people control. What I mean by this, by controlling it though, is by you pretty much fending off the enemies from it. So there are obviously different parts of the map, but at the first part of the gameplay you guys are watching, I controlled the left side of the map, meaning I didn't let any enemies come through or come near me or my teammates at all in that general area. So pretty much that ensured my, how much kills I get, my KD, rise, and in general my experience, because XP in this game is quite detrimental and you need to have a bunch of kills in order to get enough XP to level up your weapon or level up your, your account or whatever. So sticking to a specific point is really strong. Now another example of this would be, let's say you're playing on satellite. The main area where the satellite crashed in the middle of the map or so is where that's the most populated area, right? That's for satellite. And let me give you guys one last example. For example, Moscow. On Moscow, the bottom, well, okay, it's the indoor area, right? It's the first indoor area you come out of spawn with, and it has like this it's like a squared out area. I don't really know how to explain it, but the best I can explain it is it's like a squared out area, and it has some sort of like little how do I explain it? It has like a little bush kind of inside. It's an indoor area pretty much. And that area is the most populated because there's so many different ways to get there, and that's the same with all the maps really. So controlling a specific point and area from a safe distance, while maintaining a good control and good grasp of the enemy, will ensure your greatness in this game. Now that I have summed up my second tip, let's move on to this the third one, and this would be optimize score streaks and choose ones that are reasonable for your game style. So when it comes to score streaks, there's a lot of different score streaks you can choose from, and this year for this Call of Duty, there has actually been a different system. So it's a hybrid between a kill streak and a score streak, And the cool thing about this is you're almost guaranteed you're almost guaranteed all three of your score streaks that you choose, if they're of course reasonable, at least once in a game. So you can get, for example, UAV, a counter UAV, and attack helicopter, all at least once in one single game of any round, really. So, well, except search and destroy, but other than that, really, you're almost insured as long as you play well, and as long as you play for the objective, and as long as you're like on your feet running around. Now, when it comes to score streaks, the bigger tip would be always choose score streaks that are reasonable and that fit your game style. So if you play super aggressive, if you get a bunch of kills, if you play like mega aggressive pretty much and you get a bunch of kills, you play the objective, you get a lot of score, maybe 10-4 higher score streaks, like possibly the chopper gunner, or this just higher streaks like the gunship, even if you're really aggressive. But if you tend to play in between, so if you don't play too passive but you don't play too aggressive, I recommend running something like the highest streak, probably an attack helicopter, because you're not playing too aggressive to the point where you'll be getting so much points that it's going to overflow, but you're not playing so passive to the point where you're not getting many points. So the streaks that I use in the gameplay would be the UAV, the sentry turret, and the, I believe, attack helicopter. But I don't recommend running these. These are, I guess, specially fitted for me because I've experimented with the different score streaks and I find what's best for me. What I recommend for you guys, though, would be a UAV, a counter UAV, and attack helicopter. These three score streaks are quite easy to get, and the UAV, out of everything in my opinion, is possibly the most powerful score streak ever, really, because you get, the second you know where your enemies are, you can turn hyper aggressive if you want to, and the second you know where they are and they don't know where you are, you're at a huge advantage where, you know, it's just insane. You can get as many kills as you want, and that's why I always leave it in every single score streak or loadout or whatever. But why I'm running a counter UAV instead of, let's say, a sentry turret, why I'm giving you guys a counter UAV, is because it's actually extremely powerful if you can use it correctly. Of course, you can't really just call a counter UAV just randomly, right? Unless, of course, unless you really want to and your gun isn't suppressed, then go for it. But when they have a UAV up, and get this, the UAV is the single most powerful score streak, as I said before, and it's also the single most used score streak. So because of the fact that it's used, having a counter UAV is extremely powerful, because when they have the UAV up, you pop a counter UAV, they can't see anything. They can't hear, or they can't see your gunshots on the minimap. The minimap is fuzzed out, right? So having a counter UAV as a starter, at least, is extremely powerful. And finally, the attack helicopter, it's just there to get some free extra kills and eliminations, because it really can't be damaged on some maps, such as, for example, Checkmate. You can't really damage it that much unless, of course, you're carrying a launcher, which I kind of doubt people carry because, you know, there's a shotgun meta all of a sudden. So yeah, really, the attack helicopter is a really strong and powerful higher score streak. So these are the streaks that I recommend, but in general, please make sure you optimize your score streaks to get the best experience out of the new Call of Duty. Now for the last tip, this should be quite common sense, but use a weapon and use the attachments on that weapon that you feel most comfortable with. Let's say you're trying to do a challenge, okay, I'll give you that. But if you're trying to go for wins, if you're genuinely trying to get eliminations, XP, and you're trying to get better at the game in a genuine state, always use a gun that you are comfortable with. Always use a gun that you feel really good with. For example, in the gameplay, I am running, I believe, the XM4 with the attachments that I feel best comfortable with, and I do fairly well, really I do. And running just a gun that you feel the best with is the best to get better, really. This game is nothing without guns, you know? Think of it like that. So guns over movement over everything else, really. So just choose a gun and attachments on that gun that you like the best and you feel most comfortable with, and you're almost ensured progress and also wins. So yeah. Now before the video ends, I want to talk to you guys about what I stated earlier in the video at the start about Apex Legends. I actually made a brand new channel, I believe yesterday, for Apex Legends, and if you're genuinely interested in Apex Legends and Apex Legends news, content, gameplay, breakdowns, all that other good stuff, and strategies, tips and tricks, everything when it comes to Apex Legends, go ahead and subscribe there. At the current state, I don't have any videos on it because I just wanted to tell you guys, once I get 10 subscribers there with no videos at all, then I will start posting on it, because I know I will have a audience to look to and an audience to make more videos to, and especially since I'm transferring subscribers from this channel to that channel, it would be a nice little advancement, I guess, and it would be nice to see that I have people to make videos for, because I don't want to just make good videos and good content and have no one really watch it, you know? So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe there, but that's really all I have to say about Apex. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like it, as it is appreciated. Also subscribe with post notifications on so you don't miss out on any new content that I drop, consisting of Call of Duty news, tips and tricks, and also strategies, and much more after that. Also, subscribing is free and harmless, so why not just click the button. Nonetheless, thank you once more for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.
All a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. So